Well, I was born in a little town, if you want to call it that, called Sudeth, Kentucky. And it wasn't really even a town, I don't think. I'm the middle one of 5 kids. I have a sister and a brother older, and 2 brothers younger than I am. And well, I guess we got along just like any other kids because I wasn't favored. My mother didn't treat me any different than the others. I had chores that I had to do on the farm, and just like anybody else. I got spanked and sent to bed or whatever, like all the other kids. We had our fights, and we played games, and, just the regular run-of-the-mill things that kids do. A lot of people notice my ring, and they think it's kind of weird, for me to wear it on my toe. And I just sometimes tell them, well, I'm just walking around on my hand. I had thought about, wearing it on a chain around my neck, but then if I do that, then I can't wear, the other necklaces that I have. Oh, the little boy over on Valentine that was playing between the hedges. And as Matt and I walked up to him, he kept jumping up saying, surprise, surprise. And then whenever we got up close, why, he jumped out and he said that he had been yelling, surprise, surprise, to all the armless ladies that walked up the street. So I said, really? Have there been very many? He said, nope, not too many. This is a very well-adjusted child as far as I can see. No. There's nothing around my house that I can't do. I'm very independent. If I want something done, if I want someone to help me, then I'll ask. But I say no if somebody asks if I need help, usually. Like I say, I'm very independent. I want to do things myself. My mother, I give her most of the credit for what I am, because she made me try it. She made me do it. And so I think that's the way that the parents of any handicapped child, no matter what his disability is, to, let him do it. And then if he says that he, asks for help, then help him. But if he says, I can't, no. I don't know those words. I don't, they're not in my language. So I look handicapped, and I guess I do things that make me look that way, but I don't feel that I am any different than anyone else. I laugh at life. I laugh at myself. My friends that come to the house and they'll see me, my feet in the sink, and they'll say something about dishpan hands, and I say, oh yeah, I get dishpan feet too. There was a man once. He walked up to me on the street and he says, how in the world do you dress yourself? And I said, that's none of your damn business. I would have ordinarily said, just like you do. But of course I do things differently. It's much easier for me to get dressed, I think, than a lot of women. A zipper that zips up the back, I put the dress on backwards, zip it up the front, and then turn it around. So it's really much easier that way. I was in a store when I lived in Florida, and I was shopping, and I wanted something off the shelf, and this lady was standing staring at me. And so all of a sudden I just told myself, why am I worrying about her looking at me? She's going to, whether I do anything or not. And so I went ahead with my shopping, and I said, the heck with it. People are going to stare at me, because I'm sure they're just interested in knowing, whether I do things myself. So like I say, it was not a gradual thing. It was just an immediate change, right? You know, in that one moment, my mind told me that I shouldn't worry about it anymore. You know, I tell myself, well, it's my figure they're looking at, my 21-inch waistline. People stare at Raquel Welch when she walks by, so why shouldn't they stare at me? Right? She looks different. Would you believe that I was asked once not to shop in a store? I had been shopping in this store for about 2 years. And one day I drove up in front, and the manager of the store came out, and he said that certain people had started a petition that they didn't want me shopping in their store because I touched everything with my feet. And the more I looked at that guy, the smaller he got. I just could not believe it.
How are you today? Nice to see you. Beautiful day.
Yes, it
How are
is.
the children? All well?
They're one in school and the other's in nursery school.
How wonderful.
I could have sued the store, but instead I just let it go.
Grand total today, good news. 2316.
Okay. I just considered it their loss, not mine.
Today is what, Mr. Pepys?
Today is the 21.
That's the first and the last experience that I've ever had like that.
You're getting younger and better looking all the time.
Oh, I'll come in every day to hear you say that.
You better win it, you win it business.
Thank you.
And thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
If I had to choose just one day to live my whole life through, la 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 dee da.
Come along, boys, and I'll tell you a story about a woman at the wheel.
There was this great big truck. You know, I passed him, and all of a sudden I heard horns blow, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and here his lights were blinking on and off, and he just waved at me. You know, I think he was just giving me a pat on the back by blowing the horn and waving and flashing his lights. I waved at him, you know, put my foot up in the air and waved. I've been driving now for 20 years and never had an accident. Never got a ticket for going through a red light. When I first found out that I was pregnant with Mark, my feeling was just the opposite of most women. I felt that my chances of having an armless child were 10 million to 1. My mind felt very much at ease, but I went to see the doctor. He told me that there was a chance that my baby would be born like me. My biggest concern was my baby's mind. He said something about if it was a mix-up in the chromosomes, that I could be the beginning of a line of problems internal, like an inverted liver or heart trouble or something like that. This weighed on my mind. If I had ever thought that there was any chance at all that my baby would be born as I am, I would never have had children, because I don't feel that I have the right to put anybody through what I went through as a child. Mark and I, we talk about me, and he has often expressed the fact that wouldn't it be easier for you to do this or that if you had hands? And I said, gee, Mark, I don't know. I never had them, so I wouldn't know if it'd be any easier or not. It's not hard for me to do it this way. Yeah, but it would look a little easier if you could do it with your hands. I say, oh, okay. You know, but what am I supposed to do, Mark? Even Matt, and he's not even 3, he hands me things a little bit lower, you know, than he does his father. If he hands something to Frank, he hands it up high. To me, he hands it lower, you know, because he knows I'm going to reach up with my foot. I was a breastfed baby. My mother said that whenever she was nursing me, I would play with her breast. You know, like most babies do with their hands, I would do it with my foot. It was an automatic takeover. Just different part of my brain was functioning, that's all. An automatic transfer from hands that weren't there to feet that were. So I would start picking things up with my toes and, you know, putting things in my mouth with my toes, like every other baby does with his hands. But the hands weren't there, so the feet just automatically took over. I kicked in only one spot. Most babies, you know, hands and feet are going constantly. My kids, when I carried them, they were kicking me all over. My mother, she said, you don't have anything to worry about, because before I was born, she said that I kicked only in one place. My grandmother, she was proud as punch, because she said that she had something that nobody else had. Later on, she found out of many other people like me, and she was a little bit disappointed. I can pitch horseshoes better than anybody else, and I'll prove it to anybody that wants to try me out. Of course, it's been a long time. My dad and I used to play. Some of the other people from around the farm came up. It used to get them so mad that I would beat them. I don't know, I just lay the horseshoe on top of my foot, and then I guess the way I flipped it, it just would make a ringer. If you know anything about horseshoes, you'll know that the horseshoe has to fit right around the stake. And most of the time I'd throw one right on top of the other. I don't know, it was just luck, like anything else.
She's a good neighbor. She's just like any of our neighbors.
I want to make some strawberry preserves one of these days. I've made plum jam and fig jam.
I hadn't expected to see her. The first time I saw her was just, she was invited to a party that I was invited to, and...
I mean, it's a lot easier to go out to the store and buy a package of cookies. It really is. But it's more fun to do it the way I do it.
Well, she and I sometimes go shopping together, and we get together at each other's houses, and we make sourdough bread and pickles and jam, and...
It's like falling off a log. It's simple. And I like to do simple things, but I like to do more difficult things, too. You know, like, what is something difficult? I don't know.
She's friendly and warm, and she's outgoing, and she's, you know, just very cooperative as a neighbor.
The greatest compliment that anybody can pay me is to hand me something while I'm standing up, like a cup of coffee.
She just is so well adapted. I don't think it's a handicap to her at all.
They forget that I can't just reach out and take something like that from them. And so it's a great compliment. This is my heaven right here. I enjoy being home. I enjoy cooking, like I say, baking my own bread. Fisherman's Wharf has nothing on me. I can bake their sourdough French bread now. There was a cat that lived under the house when we moved into it in Kentucky. For a week, he wouldn't come out from under the house. We kept putting milk out for him, and he would come out when nobody was around and drink the milk, and then he'd go way back under the house. Somebody must have been pretty mean to the cat, and he didn't like people. Finally, he would stay and drink his milk when somebody came up. And then after that, he had the run of the house. All of our lives, we strive to be different in what we do, what we look like. And here, you know, it was just handed to me on a silver platter. I'm different. And I know the doctor, the very first doctor that examined me, said that it would be better for me if I didn't live. But I did survive, and I think that I have made my own life. What can I do? Better than anybody else. Nope, can't say that on the... Oh, this hair. I've made my own decisions. I've made mistakes, just like everyone else. A housewife on the street, a shopper in the store, another mother. That's all there is, really. Very good. And I think that every child should have that privilege. And I love to see Matt laugh, and he talks to me, and I love to change his diapers and, you know, get him dressed and take him for a walk. And I love to be able to just sit quietly and talk with Mark, and he, you know, tells me in his way of talking that, you know, that he's learning in school and absorbing what it is the teacher's trying to teach him. I'm very proud of my kids, and I can't even think of anything that's second best. That's what my desire is, and I've got it. out this morning, huh? Yeah. Hi there. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? I haven't heard you singing. I haven't heard you singing. Come on. Are you going to play with me? Are you going to play with me this morning? Huh? Are you going to play?
Hello? This is Bonnie Consolo. Hi, how are